Morning students. Today we will take up the topic for MA previous year students, and for first paper the name of the essay is Poor Relations by Charles Lamb. Now how to answer a question that comes in short answers or in a long answer. So let us briefly summarize the chapter Poor Relations and the important points to remember. It's first of all, it is an autobiographical essay with a blend of humor and pathos. Humor means fun and pathos means sadness. So it is a blend of both the things in the essay. You will find humor as well as pathos. Point number 2 is this essay illustrates the inconveniences caused by the poor relatives that often come to our place to visit us. So the inconveniences, the troubles or the embarrassment caused by the poor relations or the poor relatives, those who come to or visit our place, is very well illustrated and described by Charles Lamb in this essay. The third point is the metaphors that has been used by Charles Lamb to explain or describe the poor relatives. For example, I will explain a few of them, like a drain on your purse. A poor relation is always a drain on your purse, as you have to spend money on them. Sometimes they ask for money. So the metaphor is a drain on your purse. The second point, a stain in your blood, means you often shy off in explaining that you have a relation like this or a poor relative. So it is called a stain in your blood, means you hardly like to introduce them to the guest or your friends because they are poor. Okay, a line in your path means whenever a poor relative comes to your place, you often feel scared or like a line in your path, means you feel scared of them or feel a kind of obstacle when they come to you. Then we have a frog in your chamber, means still the poor relative is there around you, you will feel uncomfortable. Like if a frog enters your chamber, you become unstable and uncomfortable. So the calmness that you have is destroyed. Again, a fly in your ointment means if you have some soothing thing with you, it's like a fly in your ointment, means a thing that irritates you or that puzzles you. Again, an apology to your friends. Whenever a poor relative comes to you or you have to introduce a poor relative, you always feel sorry or doesn't feel good about it, or explaining, or doesn't feel good in introducing that person. So these are the few metaphors that Charles Lamb has used in describing a poor relation. Let me recapitulate it. The few metaphors. Number 1, a drain on your purse, a stain in your blood, a line in your path, a frog in your chamber, a fly in your ointment, and an apology to your friends. Now, he distinguishes between two kinds of poor relatives. Both have their peculiar qualities. For example, one is male poor relative and female poor relative. Now, what are the peculiar qualities of a male poor relative? You very well know the relative has come by just a knock, because the way they knock and the smiling way they enter your house, you always feel like you will come to know that that person or that relative, unwanted, unwelcomed guest has arrived or come. So he is known by his knock. Then he enters with two contrasting things. One is a familiarity towards the guest and embarrassment for being poor. You know, the person, the poor relative, the male poor relative always tries to show off that he is very close relation to you, and he will always pretend this in front of the guests or the persons who are there sitting around, and by narrating the stories like old stories, childhood stories, that he is a very familiar person of the house. He will try to frame this out. Okay, and then again and again repeatedly he will also try to figure it out that he is embarrass you by showing off that he is not that much well off or poor. He will bring that incidences, circumstances in between, which will show that that person is not very well off. Again, the one peculiarity is that that person always know when the guests are there, when the feast is there or function is there. They will exactly enter your house at that point of time when a feast or a celebration or a dinner or a birthday party is going on in your house. So these are the peculiar qualities that of male poor relatives do have. Then we come to the female poor relatives and their peculiarities. Now, Charles Lamb says that female poor relatives are even worse than the male poor relatives, as they are a more embarrassing people around and will make you feel more uncomfortable when they arrive at your place. First of all, the appearance, their appearance will embarrass you because they will not be wearing, they will be in ragged clothes, the female poor relatives, and in front of servants they won't call them properly. They will ask for anything calling them sir. Okay, so which is very embarrassing, and they call even the servants as sir. Then we have they pronounce the words in a wrong way, and servants even correct them that this is the right word. So these are the few peculiar small qualities that author has noticed these female poor relations have, which makes you feel embarrassed in their presence. Now, in the last section or in the last paragraph of the essay, Charles Lamb has given us two or three anecdotes, very short stories to explain about the poor relatives. The one story is about Mr. W dash. Okay, now he was a student, he was a very good student at Oxford, and but his father was a poor person, a poor house painter. So what happened, the father, in order to stay in touch with the son, stayed next to the Oxford University, and now the son felt very embarrassed by the presence of his father. So what did he do? He even left that university and took a job in the army. Okay, so in this way he couldn't tolerate the presence of his father who was poor. So this is the one story of Mr. W dash given by Charles Lamb. The another story that you can discuss in your answer is of Lamb's own father. He has a batchmate, a schoolmate whose name was Mr. Billet, who used to come to their house to visit them on Saturdays, on every Saturday. So what happened, once the aunt of Charles Lamb insulted Mr. Billet in front of everyone that you eat properly, as you won't be getting food on all days. So he felt very insulted. After that he didn't survive for a long time, but being a very dignified person or a humble person, he left that much amount in his account so that nobody has to pay for his funeral. So he died without any debt. So these are a few instances of poor relatives which you have to mention in your answer while writing any short answer or a long answer. In this way we end the essay by Charles Lamb, Poor Relations. I hope you have understood the essay and the points that I have discussed. Basically you have to tell what is a poor relative, like distinguish male poor relative, female poor relative. What are the peculiar qualities of a female poor relative and a male poor relative that I have just told you. A few metaphors that are used by Charles Lamb to describe these poor relatives. You can very well describe it. And then the two anecdotes which I have told you. One is of Mr. W dash, another one Mr. Billet, who were the poor relatives and how they embarrassed their blood relations, okay, when they were like in a profession and not having enough money and were deemed to be poor in comparison to others. So in this way, coming to the next chapter in the next session. Thank you very much. Okay, stay safe.